Hello, everybody. Today it is Friday, the 14th of July, 2023. My name is Kerry Holzman. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's a Friday live show, and today we're going to be doing a live unboxing and review of a mini PC manufacturer who I've never heard of before, and I want to evaluate what they're offering for the price and the quality and the upgradability, et cetera, see how they make themselves different from the competition, or if they make themselves different from the competition. Well, we're going to find that out today with the Blackview MP200, an 11th gen Core i5 that looks to be a very familiar configuration. And we'll talk more about that here in just a minute. First of all right, halfway through July, guys. About halfway through. Whew, there's 2 of the 8 miserable weeks behind us. 6 more to go. Just gotta get head down and power through this final 6 weeks of this incredibly hot summer. Hope everybody's staying safe and nice and cool out there in internet land. And I want to say thank you to our generous contributors who have given super chats prior to the show starting today. So a shout out and a thank you to Sarge Tech with $5. He says, before the stream starts, early bird fee. There's a lot of fees on this channel. Paul O'Brien with a €2. €2. I think that's €2 contribution. Likewise, early bird catches the worm. All right. Well, that's why I try not to be early. I don't want to be the worm. Nick Poverman with a $20 super chat. Wow, very nice. Thank you, Nick. He says, please use this to help a veteran get a computer. Happy Friday, Kerry, chat, and camera girl. Thank you, Nick. And yeah, absolutely. I just got an email today from Douglas Burchell, who's a veteran. And he got his computer, received the computer that we sent him, the AWOW unit, yesterday. And he apologized for waiting this long to tell me. He said it took him a while to, the way he phrased it was, I found was a little amusing, to get to the door with one leg. So, when you hear stories like that and you're like, oh, geez, I had no idea. So, yeah, I take for granted I have 2 working legs, and I just wonder how I would get around if I were missing a leg. Would I use crutches? Would I use a wheelchair? Things would not be as easy. So certainly glad that Douglas has received his computer safely and intact. Not that we've had a problem with that, but so far we haven't had any porch pirate victims or anything like that. And he says he's going to be watching the stream today, and he'll put it up on the big screen so he can plug that into his TV, I guess is what that means. So if you're out there watching, Douglas, welcome, my friend. I want to say thank you to Paul O'Brien, who again contributes €2. He says, just happy to contribute. Well, thank you, Paul, as always. Our friend Rick Lakes says hello to Carrie and Marlena, contributes $10. Rick joins us from Minnesota. No camera girl today, unfortunately, not feeling well. Dwayne Blackwelder has been a member now for 8 months. Right on, Dwayne. Thank you for continuing your membership to the channel. Paul M. contributes $5 in super chat. Says, I'm paying an early bird fee for a change. There's a good friend of the channel, Frankie B, with $49.99 given in super chat. Thank you, Frankie. I do want to remind all of you that with the super chats, I am absolutely 100% grateful for your generosity. But I do want to remind you, for any sizable contributions, before you do that via Super Chat, please know that YouTube is going to take 30% of whatever you're giving me. So if you're giving me $10, YouTube's going to take $3. Obviously, the bigger the contribution, the bigger the piece YouTube takes. And then I got to wait 60 days before I can even get it. So while I am very, very grateful for your generosity, it is more beneficial for me to receive more of your contribution through any other means. if it's a couple of bucks or whatever, 30% of a little bit is not a big deal. But when it's sizable, it makes me sad that It's not going to all of the money, or most of it's not going to where, well, I guess most of it is, but where you guys intend for it to go. So just so you know, just as a reminder, there's other ways. Amazon gift cards are the best. There's no fees. And if you want to continue super chats, I mean, that's, if somebody wants to give me $1,000 in super chat, I won't turn it away. I just think it'd be a shame that YouTube gets $300 of it. That's all I'm trying to say. But I'm not complaining. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you. There's our good friend Peter Laycock, contributes 10 pounds. He says, good evening, Carrie and Marlena and everyone in the chat room. All the best from Bonnie, Scotland, where the temperature in Edinburgh, I lost my spot, where the temperature in Edinburgh is 58 degrees Fahrenheit or 14 degrees Celsius with heavy rain. You want to trade? I was working on those giveaway computers that were sent in from Randy and James. I haven't actually touched the one from James yet. I was working on those Lenovo's. And then I had a couple other mini PCs that arrived from eBay. I can't believe how time flies when I work on those things. Because I was going to get this unit prepped for today's show, and I just didn't have time. I didn't get to bed till 2 in the morning. And I was like, that's it, I'm done. And I even only made my way through one of those Lenovo's. And then the 2 computers that arrived from eBay. And lost my train of thought. I was going somewhere with that. It's a live show. We just edit it out, right? So today when I do this unboxing, unless I had powered it up earlier, I don't think I've even turned this on yet. So as I recall, this is going to be a brand new out of the box experience. And this unit's a little different because it appears that what they're selling it for in Amazon is about twice the price of what they're selling it for at AliExpress. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a manufacturer double their price on Amazon. It's very puzzling. Usually the Amazon price and the AliExpress price are $20, $30 apart. So I'm going to show you more about that as we get into the video today. But, oh, I know what I was going to say. While I was working on the machines last night, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and installing, I think it's Windows 11, it has a little temperature thing down on the system tray, and it said heat warning. And I'm like, was the computer running hot? And I clicked on it, and it was 102 degrees Fahrenheit at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh, I guess that's what they mean by heat warning. So I stepped outside to see what that feels like, in the pitch black middle of the night, and stuck my foot in the pool, and it's like getting into a bath. It's not refreshing. I was like, holy cow. Yeah, so 6 more weeks of this. And let's hope the air conditioner doesn't break down, and we're all going to be good. LRCX contributes $5. Thank you, Larry. Elijah52 Dickens with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Elijah52 Dickens. I see our friend Mortant and Luke Greeny in the chat. There's Andy Winbridge joining us from the Netherlands. And Positive Gene says hello. Paul Howe says hello. Barry Klein says 14 months and 1 day today. That's a long time to be a member. Thank you, Barry. Thank you for supporting the show. Leslie Cavins says hello. David Martinez says hello. I am watching you on the mini PC that you sent me. Thanks, Carrie. I think we sent one to Leslie Cavins too, didn't we? So hopefully you guys are enjoying those. Douglas Burchell contributes $10. He says, thanks to you and Buster for the mini. I love it. It came yesterday. I missed it, but I got it today. Whew, I'm glad you got it today. I think the reasoning, that one would have required a signature because of its value. So if FedEx showed up and he didn't get to the door or he wasn't available, then they'd make another delivery attempt the next day. So it wasn't that FedEx just left it out there. Those computers, any computer that has a value of a few $100s, I'm going to make sure requires a signature just to make sure that I don't know what neighborhoods people live in. I don't know if they live in a safe neighborhood or a high crime area. Because I don't know that, I want to make sure they get the package and we don't deal with the anxiety and the grief of dealing with a package theft. So anyway, thank you for letting us know that you received it, and hope you enjoy it. Ian Gooch contributes 10 pounds. He says, hello, Kerry, from London, where it's a mild 18 degrees Celsius. David Bauer says, I got a Mini 2 and it's working great. Oh, yeah, David, you were one we sent a Mini 2 as well, aren't you? Should have you blue, shouldn't I? Let me see, where's David's message? Yeah, 18 degrees Celsius is 64 degrees Fahrenheit. That's from Nick Overman, who looked it up and did the math for us. Thanks, Nick. There we go. David blue. Gil Garcia wants to know, when does 11? So what does 11 does run on the Lenovo Mini? I would take one of the Lenovo. Yeah, I don't know yet. I started, the Lenovo's do not have, I believe the CPU is not Windows 11 compatible because it doesn't have a TPM module. But those Lenovo's do have a discrete TPM module installed on them. So it's not needed on the CPU. So I'll have to do more research on that. They are older units. You know, don't think because it's got Windows 11, it's newer. I don't want you to be under that false assumption. In many cases, the HPs that I'm offering are way, way faster. But, you know, that's what you want, I'm happy to send it. Or you can just keep waiting, and eventually we'll have giveaways that'll all be Windows 11 at some point. But we've got to get through all of the HP minis. And I think if somebody can afford to be picky, if someone can afford to say, that's not good enough for me, well, that's not really the target demographic we're looking to give these to. The people we're looking to give these to are people that have something very old and will be grateful to accept anything. The minute you start to be able to pick what you want, it concerns me that it's not going to the intended recipient. Now, that being said, the secret is you keep that to yourself. Don't let me know that something's not good enough for you to receive for free. Because I'll tell you what, that's really, really, you know how that comes off, right? It's sort of like I'm offering you something and you're saying it's not good enough to accept the offering. So just, you know, you can stay quiet and don't nominate yourself for a giveaway if it's not good enough for you. And then I never know. But if you plain out just tell me that in order for me to give you something, it has to at least be this or that, yeah, that's really not the spirit of the giveaway, all right? All right, let's see. Morton says, Kerry, check your email. Nick C says, hello and happy Friday from California. Balbar said he got a flood warning for his area. Ooh, I wish we had some rain. Sarge Tech says, I am happy and grateful for my Mini. Loved it from day one. Oh, I didn't suggest anybody wasn't being grateful or anything like that, but I appreciate it. Paul M says, I don't need a free PC and I will not take it from someone who really needs it. So thank you, Paul. And that's what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm trying to help out those who would benefit the most, right? So somebody might want a little box to play with. It'd be nice to have one in the spare room or in the garage. It'd be nice if your logic is it would be nice. If we reach a point where I offer a free PC and there's nobody nominating themselves, then we can go to it would be nice. But there's many people out there currently, based on the last giveaway, who, you know, it's turning their lives around in some cases, like the email I read the other day from Chris. And, you know, can you imagine if we had selected somebody else to receive that PC and Chris never got one? and somebody's just got a toy they're playing with that they didn't really need. Somebody who really needs it goes without. And that, I'm trying my best, you know. Um, I really want to whittle away the people who just want something from the people who really need something. When it comes to really wanting something, well, there's other things we can give away here on the channel that aren't PCs. And like the NVMe M.2 external enclosures, we've got some of those to give away from Silverstone. And there's some networking gear and other stuff coming up. And once you receive something from the channel, you're ineligible to receive anything from the channel until I haven't decided how long, but I want everybody in the community to have an opportunity to receive one thing. So if somebody's already received one thing, it would be highly unusual that they would receive something else unless they have basically paid for it through their contributions. That would be the exception. But in any event, it's very difficult to balance this fairly, but I just want to give you an idea of what's going on in my mind and how I'm planning all of this out. And not 100% successful. I feel like I've been taken advantage of by a couple of people that got their mini PC and then never heard from them again. But, you know, I don't really know the whole story. Maybe a very valid reason for it. But I just know how much work and effort I put into prepping them and packing them and shipping them and sending emails with, you know, scans of the receipts. So, yeah, that's just not fun for me. Let's see. Steven says he's working on an i7 2600K. Mortant said the computer I received is still running great. Hey, it better. That computer you received should be running good for about 6 or 7 or 8 more years. All right, yeah, I was asked to check the email, right? Let me check email and see what's happening here. Barry Klein sends an Amazon gift card of $25. He says, I always enjoy the live streams. Well, we enjoy having you, Barry, and thank you for the Amazon gift card. Sarge Tech gives me a $5 Amazon gift card and says, no money for YouTube. Well, without YouTube, we wouldn't be here, but I appreciate you. And Mortant sends a $50 Amazon gift card for the channel. He says, I ordered 2 SanDisk Extreme Pro 1 terabyte flash drive during the Amazon Prime days. P.S. I received my 5 Level Up mouse pads today. Wow, you bought 5 of those? That's awesome. Thank you so much, all of you, and especially Mortant there with the, be curious if you haven't used the SanDisk 1 terabyte flash drives. I ordered 2 more of them myself. Well, these 1 terabyte flash drives were $89.99 or were they $79.99? They were incredibly well priced, and I don't need them. But it was such a good deal. I'm like, I'll use them. I'll definitely use it at some point. So I think I ordered 2 of them. I think they're going to arrive today. So if we hear my alarm going off, the bell beeping on my phone or the doorbell ringing, I think there's a bunch of stuff from Amazon Prime scheduled to arrive today. But they just tell me before 10 p.m. They don't give me any other time window, or at least they haven't yet. So who knows? Might be interrupted, might not be. But if we are, it should be for a good reason. Morton said his wife said she wanted one of the mouse pads. Well, tell her I said thank you. Frank Jimmy wants to know, was it worth doing the 2.5 gig upgrade on my Synology DS223 NAS if my Netgear router is only 1 gig? I reviewed your upgrade video and do not see a 2.5 gig driver available for the DS223. Is it worth it if you only have a 1 gig router? No. No, you'd have to at least put in a 2.5 gig switch and then run your NAS to the switch. It seems to me that, why are you considering doing it? I mean, that would be my thing. It's like asking me, if you get a Ferrari, will you get anywhere faster during rush hour? You know, you've got to have the road ahead of you has got to be open and available for you to be able to put your foot down. And much the same way, the networking equipment, you'd need at least a 2.5 gig switch. You'd need to do the upgrade on the router. And then you would need a computer to benefit from that. You know what I'm saying? So Whether it's worth it for you or not, I don't know. And whether or not the driver's available for the DS223, seems like you're putting the cart before the horse on this one. I don't even know why we're even talking about that until you've established what it is you're hoping to gain by putting a 2.5 gig upgrade on it, only to connect it to a 1 gig router. We usually start the show by doing a little monologue, a little bit what's going on, answering some viewer questions, and then we get to the subject of the video, which of course will be the review here. Mondog says, wow, 1 terabyte thumb drive. Holy crap, over the years, I've collected over 30 thumb drives. I'm surprised you haven't seen me using these 1 terabyte SanDisks. I've been using them for, what, 2 or 3 years now? They were about 150, and then the regular price dropped to about 129, and then on Amazon Prime Day, they were like $79 or $89 a piece. They read and write over 400 megabytes per second on a USB 3.2 slot, USB port. They're made by SanDisk. They're very good build quality. They're very small. They're traditional flash drive size. They're very durable, and they're very, as I said, very fast. They do, you know, if you're copying a lot of data to or from them, they can get quite warm, but that's normal and nothing to worry about. Bradley Remy says, hello, welcome in, Bradley. Fred Sunderman said, Gary, I've got a Gigabyte B460 HD3 motherboard with the F5C BIOS. Gigabyte support shows F5 BIOS as the newest. Wouldn't F5 precede F5C? Also, F5C has been deleted from the Gigabyte website. Should I install F5? Usually, if there's a letter after the BIOS, it usually means it's a beta. It hasn't quite, they think it's ready, but they're not sure. And then when they're sure, they'll take the letter off of it. So asking whether or not that shouldn't be F6, that's a question you need to ask Gigabyte. But yes, if F5 is the latest version available from the website, that's the version that I would put on. Oops. Oystein joining us from somewhere in Europe. Is he in Sweden now? Normally he's in Norway. He's on vacation. He says, I had to interrupt my vacation for a day to receive my Minis Forum NAD 9 mini PC. I didn't know it was in such a big case compared to my other mini PCs. Oh, you should watch my review on it. It's a beast. Yeah. It's not that much bigger. And it also stands up vertically, so it doesn't take up the same amount of room. And it's so powerful, so powerful. You'll have to let us know what you think about it once you get to having some experience with it. All right, well, oops, what am I missing? Randy Roblowski says, in 1 year, I bought about 25 of them. I think something to keep in mind when you're commenting in the chat room is if you use words like they, them, it, the, we don't necessarily know what you're referencing. So instead of saying them, say what it is, because I don't know what you're talking about. And not everybody's watching at the same moment in the video. Some people are far behind others, and that will continue as this video goes on, as I've learned the hard way. So do please consider that when you're typing in the chat room in reference to something, specify what it's in reference to, because there can be multiple conversations, typically at every given moment. And I don't know which one it's referring to. Mark Gaines contributes 10 pounds. He says, hello, Kerry, from a very wet Northern Ireland. Cheers, Mark. Thank you so much, my friend, and stay dry. Randy says USB drives. You bought 25 USB drives or 25 SanDisk 1 terabyte drives? Okay, let's get to the review. So this company called Blackview is one that's been on my list that I wanted to review. But before I spent your user contributions on buying one from Amazon, I had Camera Girl reach out to them. So she reached out and arranged to have them send us a unit, which is what I have here in front of me. I'm very grateful for them for sending it so we can review it. So thank you, Blackview. Now, that being said, if I pull up the Amazon page for this, I want to show you what this is all about. Let's see, screen capture. That off. Okay, so this is the Blackview MP200 mini gaming PC, the i5-11400H. It's up to 4.5 gigahertz. It has 16 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig solid state drive. CPU has 6 cores with 12 threads and supports 4K resolution at 60 hertz with HDMI, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, gigabit Ethernet, and supports up to 3 screens at that 4K, and has 4 USB 3.0 ports. Now you see the price here is $699.99. Well, this is a $350 computer. So they literally doubled the price on Amazon, and I'm not sure why. But if you look at AliExpress, you'll see it's $369.99. It's the same unit, Blackview Mini PC MP200. And with a $20 off store coupon, that brings that price to $349.99, which seems about right for what you're getting. Now, this processor is about, 2 years old now, so this isn't the latest and greatest. And they really were promoting it for office work, which is what I saw. Now over here, they're promoting it for gaming, and I don't know that I would promote this for gaming, but we'll see more into it here in a moment. Let's see what they've got to say about it on the out list. Now, basically what I did is I just copied all of this and pasted it into my video notes, and I've left the bad grammar and poor English alone. It's not my writing. I just copied and pasted. But we look at it together. It says it's a Core i5-11400H. It's 11400. I thought it said 11450. Am I dreaming? No. It's 4.5 gig. It is an 11400. All right, that matches. 6 cores, 12 threads, 12 meg cache, turbo is up to 4.5, runs faster and more stable than, than anything less than it, of course. Okay, 16 gigs dual channel and 512 gig storage, upgrade friendly. Supports dual channel SO-DIMM slots, allowing memory expansion up to 128 gigs, 64 plus 64. Okay, there is no such thing as far as I know, and please, if you have a link to a 64 gig SO-DIMM DDR4 module, I'd like to see one, because to the best of my knowledge, they only make them up to 32, so I think this is wrong, but maybe I'm wrong. Additionally, it includes a 512 gig M.2 2280 PCIe Gen 4 SSD with a 2.5-inch SATA. You can add, optionally, you can increase your storage capacity with a maximum extension of 2 terabytes. We've tested these, and this 2 terabyte limit does not seem to be enforced anymore. So I would assume that you could put any size drive you want in there. But until we test it, I don't know for sure, but I'm fairly confident that there is no such limit. There used to be, but I don't think they've updated. Small but powerful micro PC. It's 7.2 inches by 5.9 inches by 2.97 inches. It has a cooling module made from a blend of high-tech copper alloy for efficient heat dissipation. built-in silent control chip, heat dissipation without noise. Multiple I/O, so one 4K HDMI port, one USB Type-C port, one DisplayPort port, one gigabit Ethernet port, four USB 3.2 ports. Didn't it say USB 3.0 up here? Say up here, USB 3.0. And then down here, it says USB 3.2. Okay. 3.5 millimeter audio input and output jack, easily meets office needs, home audio video, and mini gaming PC needs. Bluetooth 5.2, triple screen display support at 4K at 60 Hertz. We're using Intel's graphics, which, let's face it, Intel's built-in graphics are great for everything but gaming, or if you're doing some very mild gaming, like maybe, I don't know, Valorant, League of Legends, something like that. But I think it's got to be a pretty lightweight game. I would not call this a gaming PC. They say it's got a 3-year warranty and tech support, and it's certified. I'm not quite sure how they honor that warranty if they're not in the US, but hopefully you never just need to use it and we don't need to find out. Just taking a look here at some of the screens, the exploded view here. Says the RAM is 3200 megahertz. We'll verify all this when we open it up. And they talk a little bit about how they're handling heat and that it's easy to upgrade. And then there's a listing of all of our ports right here, USB 3.2, Gen 2x4. Okay, well, if that's the case, maybe my little SanDisk Extreme SSD that's supposed to be able to do 2000 megabytes per second will actually achieve it on this. We're going to find out. So on the left side there, that's the back. And on the right, where it says power button, that's the front. And 15-watt Type-C support. Where's the power go? Well, you know what? There's only so much you can learn from the specifications. That might be obvious once we actually open it. And again, looking at AliExpress, I'm sure the same person wrote the other one. And more information here. Reiterates 3200 megahertz, reiterates up to 128 gig expansion. That's got me really puzzled, 128 gig. I think somebody's made a mistake here. Maybe they're thinking of, I don't know what they're thinking of. I don't know that a 64 gig memory module exists in standard desktop DDR4. Does it? I think it does. Okay, so I'm a little confused. I'm a little perplexed. And, you know, I give them a little bit of wiggle room with regards to English not being their first language, right? So there's going to be some grammatical errors or things maybe lacking an experienced translation. So that's what I'm here to do. I want to translate all this and see what it really is and put it in a way that hopefully we all understand and can properly set expectations so you know whether or not you're interested, or you know whether or not it's something you find appealing based on a deep dive review that we're doing right now. Lawn Dog said, Kerry, that's pretty impressive specs on the USB ports. It's not typical. I can't wait to see what we get in some brief testing. The machine is very up to date in features. Yeah, even though the CPU isn't. Oystein says you can even get the EU plug, LOL. All right, well, look at how nice it's packaged. Isn't that neat? I like that. It's got a little pull tab here. Okay, here's the Blackview mini PC. Yeah, this has never been off. So I have to tear that. And let me bring it up to the camera. We'll take a close-up look at it together. Okay, so here's the front. And there's our power button. There's our audio jack for headphones or microphone or both headset. Two USB 3.2s and a USB Type-C. Ooh, it's got a kind of a rubbery feel. I like that. I don't know what that material is, but it's not the hard plastic. It's got some kind of a coating. All right, on the back. Well, there's our power connector right there. There's our Ethernet, our HDMI, our display port, and two more USB 3.2s, and we can see the CPU heatsink through the fins. There's two screws on the bottom, which I'm guessing you're going to take these two screws out, and this whole panel should then slide down. Yeah, it can't slide up based on the way that that's has a lip on it. It would have to go out towards you. So it looks easy to get into. Let's see what else we have in the box. On the top of the unit, we have our Intel Core i5 Go Faster sticker. In the box, we've got an HDMI cable that many PCs ship with for some reason. We have a power plug that will not work for me, but it looks like a standard Mickey Mouse power plug typically used on laptops and other mini PCs. See how it kind of looks like Mickey Mouse. But we don't use this kind of plug, so that does me no good. I asked them about that, and they said they didn't have any US plugs available and asked me if that would be a problem. And I said, no, I just wanted to make sure you were aware of what you sent me. We've got some screws. We've got, I don't know what these are for. Oh. We have a stand. Is it cold? Oh, it's metal. Okay. Usually when we've seen these stands from other manufacturers, they're plastic and they can be a little fidgety to put them in. You know, they kind of have to work with them. And then sometimes when you're adjusting them, the little rubber grommet piece comes off. But that looks pretty solid. All right, we'll leave that. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I don't know what these things are. I'll show them to you up close at the camera. It's kind of got like little wheels. Don't know what this is. Anybody want to guess? What else do we have in here? Got a box right here. Martin Erickson says that power plug is a French-German power plug from Europe. Steven says it's a European plug. Yeah. Appreciate that. I've never been to Europe, so I wouldn't know. Okay, so we've got our power brick, pretty big, heavy power brick. We've got an owner's manual here, really small. It's a mini owner's manual for a mini PC. And that's all there is in this box. So I think that's all of it. So let's hook it up, turn it on for the first time, and see what it looks like. First thing I'll do is plug in power. This power cable, which I just was using last night on those Lenovo's and other mini PCs, so that was convenient. And then I've got my keyboard and my mouse right here. So let me move these off to the side and plug the dongle in. Yeah, let's plug it in up front. Yeah, so this still has the same problem they all have. They kind of sit in there a little wonky. But, you know, give them kudos. They made it out of metal. And what else do I need an HDMI cable. We're not going to plug it into the internet until after we get through the Windows 11 setup routine first, so it doesn't force us to create a Microsoft account, which I don't use. Okay, and let me put myself in a corner here. Then I'll turn it on. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Power is on. Elijah52 Diggins says, Carrie, check your PayPal. Joshua Gwenin, those strips might be for the stand. Don't know where they would go. Guess it's as good as mine. All right, checking the PayPal. Elijah Dickens sends $40 via PayPal. Thank you, Elijah. Susan Lawrence with $20. And Mr. Peter Laycock sends some money. He says, anything you want. I hope Marlena gets well soon. Your friend Buster. Buster, thank you so much as well. Thank you once again to Elijah Dickens, Sue Lawrence, and our good friend Peter Laycock, who we all know here as Buster, for your generosity and your support of what we're doing here on the channel. So I'm not here being the mouthpiece for some corporation paying me to say what they want me to say. I like to say what I want to say. Doesn't pay as well. All right, let me take a look at, let's see, I got to go full screen so I can see the screen. Ooh. The fan noise on this is quite noticeable. Let's see if it quiets down after we get through. I mean, it's not really doing much, so I don't know why it's so loud. United States, yes. US, yes. Second keyboard, no. I don't have internet. Continue with limited setup. Accept the license agreement. Enter username. User. Enter. Password will leave blank. That we just go right to the desktop. And I turn off all this stuff, but I do leave location settings on. Why is that? Oh, they'll tell you in the chat room. Sarge Tech says, and what you want to say, Carrie, is what we want to hear. Well, thank you, Sarge Tech. I do wonder sometimes. Paul says they are for the install of a 2.5-inch solid state drive. Oh, well, I'm just kind of curious how that works because I've never seen a drive bracket that in any way resembles that. Yeah, not only does the time zone by leaving location settings on, not only does it set the date and time and keep it up to date, because your computer will lose seconds that eventually become minutes over time. It also can adjust the clock automatically for you during daylight savings time. And whenever I want to search for something, like I want to go to a restaurant or a particular store, I can say, where is a McDonald's near me without having to tell it where I am. And it generally gets it in the right vicinity anyway. It's just like you do with your cell phone. All right, now we're at the desktop, so I can plug it into the internet now. Now we're free and clear to plug it in from this point forever forward with internet access. And we'll take a look at some of our specifications and see if it matches what they say. So first and foremost, I want to see that little globe become little monitor. There it goes. So now we have internet access, and we're going to go over to Windows Update, see what we're missing. for updates. It's already synchronized the time. That's good. And let's right click on Start button and go to Device Manager. Okay, we don't have any hidden items or items that don't have drivers. You'd be surprised sometimes. And then let's go one more time, right click on the Start menu, go to System. We'll get some system information. It's an 11th gen Intel Core i5 11400H, just as advertised. 16 gigs of RAM, just as advertised. Windows 11 Pro 22H2. I'm glad to see it's the current version of Windows 11 Pro. It's not 21H2. That's good. Thumbs up for me on that. With regards to the network adapter, let's go back to Device Manager. I should have checked this when I was in there. Is that a 1 gig or a 2.5 gig network adapter? And who makes it? It's a 1 gig Intel i219. And it's an Intel AX201 Wi-Fi adapter and Intel Bluetooth. So it's all Intel. That's nice. They didn't go on the cheap side with the less expensive Realtek stuff. Not that it's bad. There's our Trusted Platform Module 2.0. The reason why this is preferred when it says Intel is we can use the Intel Driver Assistant. It's free from Intel to get updates on drivers for any Intel hardware in our computers, even if those are AMD-based computers. So when you have a mixture of different hardware, you're getting your drivers from different places. If most of our equipment can be all from one company, then it makes it a lot easier to just go to one place to get those drivers. So things like your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, your LAN, that's, if you can get that Intel on an Intel system, which has Intel drivers for video display that get updated regularly, it's just one-stop shopping, you know what I'm saying? And then you don't have to get your drivers from some questionable source. It's coming from the manufacturer directly, and that's completely free for you to use. All right, this says it's downloading. This says restart now. All right, let's go ahead and restart it. I don't normally like to restart the computer during an update, but I've seen a couple of updates that just sit there waiting until you restart before they'll continue. So I'm a little inconsistent with whether or not I wait or whether or not I restart. And part of that has to do with my mood, whether or not I'm feeling impatient. And part of that has to do with something happening recently where I was waiting and waiting for the update to finish before I restarted. And after like 15 minutes of no movement, I'm like, well, clearly this just ain't happening. So I restarted, and then it continued the rest of the updates as normal. I wish it would have made it clear. These other updates can't progress until you restart first. A lot of times, if a particular update wants to restart, it doesn't necessarily negate other updates installing. Sometimes it does. All right, I don't like this little icon down here, so I just right-click on the taskbar. Go to taskbar settings. Oh, wait, this is Windows 11. So to do it in Windows 11, I just type in the word search permission right there. All I had to do was type in search PE, scroll down to more settings, and turn off the content suggestions, and that gets rid of that forever, or at least until there's another big update that might put it back. And then back over to Windows Update one more time. Windows Updates. Install. Oh, it's already doing that in the background anyway. Okay, so while that's working, let's take another look at, let's hit Control-Alt-Delete, go to the Task Manager, go to the memory, performance memory, and what speed does it say our memory is running at? 3200. All right. I've seen so many PC manufacturers say 3200, and they actually do have 3200 RAM installed, but it doesn't run at 3200. It runs at like 2666 or something. But in this case, we're getting exactly what they described. So far, so good. Now, I'm sensing a little bit of deja vu with this particular model, because if we open up the browser here, close that, close that, go over to Mini's forum. Mini PC. Oh, which one is it? It's just others. Yeah, this one that says 11400H. Let me get rid of the camera because I think I'm covering up some information on the screen. So the Elite Mini TH60 has the same processor. You can order it bare bones and put in your own RAM, your own storage, or we can match what they have here. And they're significantly cheaper. And I can get a US power plug, although they were just out of them. It's not that they don't provide it. And we have a completely different form factor. So does one have more ports than the other one? This looks nearly identical. Where were the specs at? Oh, here they are. I forgot. Mini's forum puts it in a tab on the website. It appears there's two M.2 slots for storage and one M.2 for Wi-Fi. I'm just kind of curious how this compares. Are these USB 3.2 Gen 2x4? Oh, they mean that there's 4. It's not Gen. Okay. I think I misunderstood what they wrote. Anyway, seems very familiar. They do have an i7 version of this available. Obviously, that'll cost more. That's the TH80. TH60 is the model this compares with. All right, so let me get back over to camera 1. Enough of this. Or you know what? First, let me just close all this down. And yeah, we're doing good here. So, while that's downloading, I'm going to grab my flash drive and copy my utilities over so we can some tests. Just overall, get a better idea of exactly what's in here before we open it and look. So I'll go to my yellow folder, over to my USB drive, and I want, I'll put VLC on here. And let's see, Uncle carries Windows 10 optimizer, which works fine on Windows 11. I'm not sure how much it helps, but it doesn't hurt anything. It does do some useful things like turning off indexing. And PC testing software, I want CPU-Z. And I want HWI, hardware information, and Prime 95. Crystal disk info, Crystal disk info, Crystal disk mark. All right, I think I've got everything. We'll eject the SanDisk flash drive. All right. Harry, when I click on your link below the stream, it shows the price at $349. You're talking about the Amazon link? Maybe they've, let me go back over to the page. Let me refresh the page. You know what it could be? If I show you the page again, let's go back over there. The reason it shows $699 here is explained right here. You can go ahead and read that. Sorry, not that line, this line. Can you read that for me? What does that say? So if you're not an Amazon Prime member, the price is $699. If you are an Amazon Prime member, it's $349. That's much better. Obviously, I'm not signed into Amazon on this computer because I don't need all my private information broadcast around the world. So I may show different prices that if you're a Prime member, you would see. But if you're not a Prime member, then this is what you should expect. But thank you for pointing that out. You got a sharp eye, Ron. I appreciate that. That does help explain it because I was confused. Actually, I'm still a little confused. It looks like we've got 10 ratings, averaging 4.5 stars. That's not terrible. That's far from terrible. It's actually really good. Really speedy PC, impressive little box, right price for a good daemon. Very good. I don't use it for games, so I can't comment, but it does everything I need it to. That seems fair. This one is oh, these are all verified purchased. You see it says verified purchase? That's how you know that it's not just somebody leaving comments or reviews, but somebody who made the purchase from Amazon. So you know the review came from somebody who purchased the product from Amazon. Perfect little device to host all your music along with an embedded Qobuz and Tidal high-res streaming. All you need to do is remove Windows 11 and install Linux. Yeah, okay, one of those people. Fine. Yeah, so far so good. I think we're off to a good start here. I think the Minis Forum PC is still a bit cheaper. However, we're gonna have to test the speed of these USB ports and see what that brings with it. And I never did review the was it TH60 and TH80? Was it TH40? Whatever they were just a minute ago. I haven't reviewed those quite yet. Let me go back over here for a second. I think I made my video a little bit too big, or let's just move it over, I guess. We'll do both. Make it smaller and move it over so we can keep it high. Then maybe also move this over a little bit this way. There we go. Okay, so that's very interesting. I'm gonna go in the other room and grab my SanDisk Extreme drive. So the ×4 meant there was 4 ports, not that it's running ×4. All right. USB standards are just so confusing. I mean, I'm a tech and I get them all confused. I can't imagine what the average computer user thinks about translating USB 4 specs. Yeah, they really screwed it up with USB 3, as far as I'm concerned. That's where it all went the wrong direction. So hopefully moving forward with USB 4, things will be clearer. I did say hope. I didn't say it was going to happen. I hope it's going to happen. Rick Lake says, I avoided Prime Day. I would have got myself in trouble. Yeah, I did just that, Rick. I've got to tell you, Sony's got a new camera coming out that uses artificial intelligence to help get the perfect picture, and as well as supposed to be beneficial in when you're filming, not just taking pictures. It's called the, well, here, let me pull it up. Since we're just waiting on this anyway. It's not out yet. Sony only made the announcement and has opened up the website for pre-orders. If I can get the browser to open, that would be good. Sony A6700 is the model. Sony's new A6700 puts the company's best-in-class autofocus in a more affordable camera. It's an APS-C format interchangeable lens camera. And yeah, Amazon doesn't have it listed yet. Sony is taking pre-orders for it. Where is, yeah, probably right here at Sony, right? So yeah, the Alpha 6700, it's hybrid in that it uses artificial intelligence. So the body only is $1,399, $1,400. The body with a 16 to 50 millimeter power zoom lens is $1,500. And then the one I'd be interested in, it's the body plus an 18 to 135 power zoom lens. It's $1,800. Estimated delivery is the first week of August, and there's a pre-order button right there. Question is, will I use it? That's my concern. And if we look over here at, let's see. Oh, I got to go to a different tab. Click on the News tab. There's News. It brings autofocus, stabilization, and video capabilities to its APS-C line. It's 26 megapixels. It's their new flagship mirrorless. It uses cutting-edge AI-powered autofocus. So I think this is probably a better solution for a photographer than a filmmaker. So I'm kind of excited to see how AI is going to be used for better pictures. And there are some videos where Sony demonstrates it, but they are marketing videos. So of course it's like a movie trailer. It looks fantastic. Then you go see the movie and, you know, it's terrible. But Sony has had a very good reputation in all of filmmaking, you know, whether it's videos or photographs. Their cameras just keep getting better and better. And while I thought about buying it, I thought, you know, I've got two camera bodies now. I've got a Canon and a Sony, and I don't really have any complaints about them, but they just don't work well for my streaming. And that's not to say I've given up. I still hope that they will find a place here, ideally when I have a permanent studio. But I much prefer the cameras that are on modern phones these days. They're, to me, just more convenient. I always have it with me. I don't want to lug around a big DSLR. But I was hovering my finger over the pre-order button and thinking about how I was going to pay for it. And I said, you know, I bet you I buy it and it sits on the table and I don't use it. So since I just spent all that money on Amazon Prime Day, I think I'm doing myself a favor by not buying that. Let's see. I think I'm caught up here. Yeah. How are we doing on these updates? Waiting for a restart. I'll restart it. And all caught up over there. Just biding my time waiting for these updates. But I think when we come back up to the desktop with the bulk of these updates, I think that's good enough for me to move forward and we'll run the testing, run the results of the testing software I copied over and see how she performs. Ron says that camera looks heavy. I don't know. Usually it's the lens that's heavy, not the camera. Old Man 55 says Carrie is a businessman, a teacher, a stock boy, and a tech detective, and a janitor. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You could probably add a few more things onto that list, but that's all right. I'm not bored, if that's what you're saying. Sarge Tech says he's sticking with his Pentax DSLR. He's got lots of glass to go with it. Yeah, if you've got an investment of lenses to a particular manufacturer's camera, then you sort of makes sense financially to stay with that manufacturer, as their future cameras typically accept their older lenses. So if I go Canon, I got to get Canon lenses, and if I get a Sony, I can't use any of those Canon lenses on the Sony. And even if I could, they wouldn't look as sharp. Both Canon and Sony, when you're using their brand of lens on their brand of camera, it just works better. You just get overall better picture quality. Gee, imagine that. I wonder how that happens. Greg Evans said this PC is too expensive at $1,000 Canadian from the same seller, even at $649. It should be about $800 Canadian here without Prime discount. Well, you can just order it from AliExpress. It just means you'll have to wait a couple weeks to get it, that's all. I will say, maybe I've been spoiled lately with the mini PCs being quiet. This idle speed is quite noticeable. It's a drone. It's droning on. It's not loud. It's not difficult for me to talk over it, but I definitely know it's turned on. So it just now quieted down a little bit. So with my AC running, I've got my noise suppression on the microphone turned on. One of the great things when we come out of summertime and we're back into the cooler weather is that AC doesn't run. And then the studio's nice and quiet, and I can turn the noise suppression off, and you can hear all the nuances of the equipment I'm working with. But during the summer months, just be aware, because of the noise of the AC, that it interferes with the quality of the audio. So I really put the noise suppression on for your benefit. All right, let me go over here to HDMI input. There we go. I can see it full screen now. Let's take a look at Crystal Disk Info and see what it says about our installed solid state drive. What do we have? What do we have in there? 4C XP. I don't know what that is, but it is PCIe Gen 3 by 4. So it's Gen 3. Well, I guess Generation 11, it could have been Gen 4. Website say it was Gen 4. Too much information. I can't keep it all in my head. Let's see how it performs. Obviously, it won't go faster than 3600 if it's Gen 3. But let's see how close we get to that. Start that test now. Greg says he's received things from AliExpress in a week, so there is that option. I think you pay more for that. I'm not sure how you can get it through customs that quick, but sometimes customs get stuff through faster than other times. And I don't think you could speed up customs, but I've never received anything from AliExpress that fast. Paul M says, I think only Gen 13 is PCIe 4. Gen 13 should be PCIe 5. Gen 4 should have been on the 10th gen, but Intel withheld it. So that's why you'll see some motherboards that are for 10th and 11th gen CPUs, where one slot will not work, one of the M.2 slots will not work at all with a 10th gen CPU on the motherboard. But with an 11th gen CPU, not only does it work, it works at Gen 4. When you get up to the 13th gen, now you're into Gen 5. Not all 13th gen motherboards support Gen 5, however. So many of them are still Gen 4 because it costs more money to. Anyway, what are you going to do? Paul Kitching said, didn't cameras and other electronics have AI years ago? Wasn't it called fuzzy logic? So the autofocusing used a technique that you're describing, but now uses artificial intelligence where it can now identify shapes, such as a person, a bird, an animal. If it's something that has eyes, the AI can determine what an eyeball is in the picture, and there'll be like a little box that, when you're taking a picture, there's a little focus box. As you hold the camera, the focus box is like white, and then it'll move around, and when it sees what it believes to be your target, that's the AI. It kind of has an idea of what it is you want to shoot. It then turns the box green so you can take your picture. And if somebody's walking past and ends up in the picture, it automatically knows that and takes a second picture like instantly. And it does all these crazy things with artificial intelligence using a logic that's not fuzzy, but an actual real logic to determine what it is you're taking a picture of and how to best capture that specific item within the frame, not just everything in the frame. At least that's my understanding of it. You can read more about it. Just read any of the reviews or visit any of the YouTube reviews that are out on it. Like I say, it's not listed at Amazon yet, but I expect sometime in August it will appear on Amazon, and I'm sure it'll be at MSRP for quite some time. Sony and Apple, those two companies, well, they aren't quick to lower their prices. Morton saying good night. He's going to catch the rest of the stream later. All right, Morton, you take it easy. It seems like you're taking an early night there, aren't you? Here in the States, it can't be more than 5 o'clock. But hey, you need some rest, get some rest. Thank you for hanging out with us. Paul M says maybe because it's using a laptop CPU that Gen 11 doesn't support Gen 4. I thought my Dell XPS 11th gen laptop supported Gen 4. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, so our read numbers, sequential, are 3418. That's really, really good. Our write numbers are at 2618. It's weird that they both end in 18, isn't it? That's usually the write speed on a aside from going to the high end NVMe or the low end, we're kind of right in the middle. And by in the middle, we're getting close to being in that high performance tier for Gen 3, but with the write speeds being 1/3 less than the read speeds, that's pretty common at a certain price point. If you want the write speeds and read speeds to be closer to the 3600 mark, you got to spend more money and likely get a larger capacity for that to happen. However, nothing wrong with this drive. I would be very happy with its performance numbers based on what I'm seeing here. Like I said, your limitation is going to be 3600 on this interface, and nothing you can do about it. If that's not good enough, there's no upgrading that, so you have to get a different platform. Now, let's see what we're doing for Prime 95. Let's go to hardware info and let's see what kind of temps we're looking at on this thing. Because that fan sure is running a lot. It has quieted down right now, which now I can barely tell it's on. I can faintly hear it right now, which is good. I like that. And let's see here, temperatures. Okay, and let's bring up Prime 95. And we'll slam 100% of workload onto all the cores and much of the RAM, and let's see what our temps do. Started this, it's got a timer that was a bit around 35 seconds when we started Prime 95. So once we exceed 20 minutes, or if we exceed 95 degrees Celsius, I might end the test early. So what we're looking at primarily is this main core temperature, and this is where it's at currently. This is the lowest number it's been since we started the HW Info software. This is the highest temperature it's gotten to since we started. So it's already climbed up very, very quickly into the mid 70s, which is a little concerning, but this is a very unrealistic torture test. Normally people don't make a computer work this hard for this long unless you're doing something very specific that most people don't do, like render videos. And at that, I mean render big videos that are like an hour long at 4K or 8K. That's really going to cause any computer to utilize every bit of performance it's got, even if you've got the most expensive computer with the best processor, the most RAM, and the most storage, the fastest storage, it's still going to be a workload. So, oh, this is our max. Wait a minute, I'm confused. This is our current temp. This is our minimum temp. This is our maximum temp. And this is our average. So I don't care about the average. I'm interested in this number right here. So we've already hit 82 degrees, and the test has been only been run about 90 seconds, right? Because that started when we started the software. This clock started the minute I started the software. It was about 30, 35 seconds in before we started Prime 95. Bear that in mind as we watch these temperatures climb. We got to subtract about 30 seconds off that clock to get an idea of how long it took to reach those high temps. And it didn't take long. Is the fan getting louder with the load? The fan is getting to the same level of volume it was at when I was commenting on it. That must be full speed that I'm hearing. And why it would be running at full speed early on when I was just booting into Windows, and that didn't make any sense to me. But maybe it's running some background tasks or something that's causing it to heat up. And so that fan cranks up until the heat level goes down, and then the fan can slow down and get quieter. Nick Caffrey says, Carrie, I have a Canon DSLR and a kit lens and a Galaxy A53, and I think you're right on track. And now that I think I'd be probably better served upgrading to a Galaxy S23. Well, there's some rumor that the Galaxy S24 is going to use a layered lithium-ion battery like what the cars use. It's what they call a jelly roll, and it's supposedly better for charging, faster charging, and you get way more battery life out of it. It'll be interesting to see what the A24 turns out to be like, but I'm very, very happy with my S23. The S24, yeah, I mean, that's all I've heard so far, but I'm a big fan of the Galaxy line, Samsung's Galaxy line of cell phones. And I got their Galaxy Book 3, which is a really high-end content creator laptop. And I really should start using it. Starshine said, I hear the latest Sony Xperia is a crazy good camera. Usually people have nothing but good things to say about all Sony cameras. David Dix at Rock City PC said, yeah, I just checked my Dell XPS. It's an 11th gen, and it does support Gen 4 M.2. In fact, it's got dual Gen 4 M.2 slots. Thanks for double checking that for me, David. That's universally across the board. If the 10th gen Intel chip just did not support Gen 4 when AMD came out with their line, they were supporting it a good 6 to 8 months before Intel. It was very disappointing for me when the 10th gen came out that it didn't support Gen 4. But it absolutely is supported on Gen 11 across the board. The fact that we have Gen 3 in here suggests to me that either we have a Gen 4 slot, but we've got a Gen 3 SSD plugged into it, and that'll be something for us to look into. We can verify that when we're done with this test, which has been running now, about 5 minutes. And 87 degrees Celsius is the hottest it's been so far. Nick Poverman said his Dell 5520 is an 11th gen Intel chip i5-1135G7, and it supports 4th gen NVMe. Okay, thank you for confirming that. James Prezi says he's got the 23 Ultra from Galaxy. I don't like the big phones and I don't like the stylus, but do you like it? Usually when Samsung releases new phones, if you go back year after year, it's usually in February when they do that. Well, this is running, I'm going to grab a cold Gatorade. And if you guys have any questions for me, this is a great time as we're waiting for these tests that, we can chit chat instead of asking me something while I'm in the middle of doing something completely unrelated. This is the time when you have my attention. Just saying. Sometimes people pick the worst time. Starshine wants to know the layered battery, is that similar to parallel charging? You should Google it. Google Samsung Galaxy S24 and hit the news tab. And you'll see the articles on the battery, which are rumors at this point, but from very reputable sources. Douglas Burchell says, Carrie, I still have my Samsung Note 10 Plus. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Oh, James Prezi says he just got the S23 Ultra 2 days ago, so he hasn't set it up yet. Old Man 55 says we're at 89 degrees Celsius now on the temps. Whew, getting warm. The camera on the S23 Ultra is excellent. 4 of my family members have that phone, says Tim Teal. I've got just the regular S23, and I think the camera is excellent. I mean, as happy as I was with the S22 and the S21 and the S10, they just keep getting better and better. It's my understanding that the S23 Ultra has the best camera, but I don't really think I need that. But when the best camera becomes standard, I'll just comment about how much I like it. And Lawn Dog has posted a link about the Samsung S24 battery technology. Thank you, Lawn Dog. Let's see, how are we? About 8.5 minutes into the test. Not even halfway through, and we're already getting super, super high temps. John English says, Carrie, if you need a good filming camera, look up the Sony FX30. I guess we can do that while we're doing this. It's not like we're going to overwork it. Let's go to Amazon. Sony FX30. Oh, it's a cinema line camera, Super 35. So do these not get hot and shut off the way a lot of DSLRs do when you put them in filming mode? Oh, that's pricey. That's a bit spendy. What's interesting though is I see they sell them refurbished, or they did sell them refurbished. Oh, wow. Screen's a little bit small. That's very interesting. That is a lot of dinero for a refurbished unit. Let's do it this way. Let's take this, copy it, and then we'll paste it up here. We'll hit the shopping tab. Wow, that is a very expensive camera. I would hope it's good if it's that much money. There it is on eBay. What's eBay selling it? $1984.95 camera body only. I don't know, that screen just seems really small. Oh, look at all the inputs. Interesting. Wonder if they have it refurbished. Let's type it in here and type in renewed. Oh, you know what? Let me take that out and let's do it this way. Let's sort by how do I close this ad? Shipping to buy it now condition. Should be a sort by. Sort by price. I don't see that option here. See, buy it now. No exact matches found. Sony Cinema Line FX30. So what if I just type in Sony X30? Now you can see how I shop. Sort it by price plus shipping, lowest first. And then if there's any renewed or refurbished ones, those should appear right up at the top. Did I pick highest first? Yeah, lowest first. Try the other way around there, Carrie. $17.50, buy it now. Wow. It's batteries, small rig cage. So about $1,800, $1,900 without a lens. Holy cow. Wow. I'll have to maybe look at some Amazon, YouTube reviews rather, and see a little bit more about that camera. I'm intrigued. You have me intrigued. All right, so our temps are still looking pretty good right now, and we're about 13, creeping up on 14 minutes on the test. As I said, the test was already 30 or 40 seconds. The software, rather, was running, the monitoring software was running almost a minute before we started the testing software. So that's why I'm subtracting about 30 to 40 seconds off of the clock down here. John English says it's got stage tracking too. YouTube it from Gerald Undone and you'll be amazed. Well, I appreciate the tip, John. I'll definitely look into it. I don't really think I need another camera. I just need to learn how to use the ones I've got now. And I've been so busy doing work. The last thing on my mind has been fidgeting with the cameras. I've got them sort of locked in right now, and I'm not touching them. Jim KJ3N said, I'm still waffling on spending $300 on an Insta360. There's no way I'm sinking 1,000 plus on a camera. Yeah, they do depreciate rapidly. But as I mentioned, I have a Canon and a Sony DSLR that I've barely touched. So I don't know why I'm even looking, honestly. At some point, where I store them isn't going to be big enough. And then I'm going to have a second problem, which is where am I going to put this? And if I put it away somewhere that's out of my way, I'll forget I have it. And I'll be doing something non-related and I'll come across it and be like, oh, I forgot I had this. I've been meaning to do something with this. So probably should just save my money. Focus on the channel, Carrie. Don't need that. Use what you have. Fred Sunderman says, you may not need another camera, but it sounds like you may want another camera. Yes, and that's the problem. I should make a deal with myself to sell one of the DSLRs. Like the Sony I've got is a full frame camera, and I bought it because I've never owned a full frame camera. When I was looking at the A6700, it's an APS-C camera, and I don't think I've ever owned an APS-C camera. I don't think I have. So the full frame camera is great for photography, but I don't like the way it looks on video. And I've got a very nice and expensive lens for it. If those lenses will work on the other Sony DSLRs, then I can afford to just buy the camera body only, sell the other camera body, which has got very low use on it, put it up on eBay or something, and then I can justify the purchase. But I honestly don't have any real complaints about the Sony camera I've got now, only that it's not what I pictured I was going to use it for. It's the image, the way it formats the image is just a little weird. Elijah52 Dickens says, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Well, that's the truth. That is the truth. I'll be the one to say it. Oh, I see some numbers in red. What is that? Is that saying it thermal throttled? Right down. Let me move this over. Well, this suggests that it did thermal throttle here at some point. I didn't think it would thermal throttle until it reached 100. So we're already throttling. So I don't think we're going to see any numbers higher than 91. I don't think the programming of the CPU will let it get hotter than that. So let's just keep running it. We're almost at the 20-minute mark anyway. Tim Saul says, I'll buy your Canon R from you, Carrie. Well, that's the problem, Tim. If I was going to buy another Canon, then that'd be one thing. But I'm talking about buying the Sony. And if I buy the Sony without selling my other Sony, I'll have two Sonys. I don't mind having one Canon and one Sony, or even one Nikon and one Panasonic, but I don't want two of a particular camera body from the same manufacturer. So it's not the Canon I'm looking to get rid of. Yes, if you're enjoying content like this, please hit the thumbs up button. That's a good way to let a content creator know that I like this and I want to see more like this. Alan says, I just picked up a Fangjing S880 1 terabyte. It's 10% off, was just under $50 and used Carrie's link. Thank you, Alan. Camera Girl said she's enabled what's called One Link on Amazon. So if you use the links I'm generating now in other Amazon in other countries, I think I'm going to get commission for it, but I don't know. You guys will have to let me know if those links work for you. Charles Eslick's been a member now for 14 months. Charles is another person we've sent a mini PC out to. And thank you, Charles, for being a member for so long, right from the beginning, it looks like. Sarge Tech says, want and need are very different situations. Yeah, and sometimes what I want, I regret getting or requiring. So be careful what you wish for, right? All right, where are we at? All right, so we've crossed over that 20-minute boundary, so I think we can end this test. I think it's safe to say we're never going to get higher than 91 on this. It throttles before it goes any hotter. So it's not like the thing's going to blue screen on you and crash, but if you're working this that hard for this long, you can expect it to get a little slow. When it throttles, it slows down to get itself cooled off. But that prevents it from crashing. So between slow or crash, I'll take slow. And now that we've stopped the test, we should see these temps drop rather rapidly here. Now, with regards to Crystal Disk Mark and my SanDisk drive, I am curious if I'll try the USB Type-C port first, because that's usually the fast port on most computers. And on many computers, it's going to be the same speed as the Type A USB 3 ports, just the connector's different. So I don't know which is the case in this particular model. So let's take a look once again at Crystal Disk Mark. This folder's over. Oops. All the way over here. Let's try and keep everybody together. Stay together, everyone. And this is a 2 terabyte super fast external SSD from SanDisk. And I'm only interested in the sequential read and write speed. So let's see what this will do. If it hits 1,000, a little over 1,000, that's typically what it does. I want to see 2,000. I got a feeling I'm not going to see it. Yeah, my feeling is right. So just to double check my work, I don't need to continue that test. I'm going to plug in a different cable, rather, and try a different USB port. Let's go around back. Since it says they're ×4, that means they're all the same, so they should all perform the same whether front or back. And we'll run this test again. Yeah, it's the same. All right, that's what I was predicting. And by the way, that's nothing to shake a stick at. It's just, I've only seen 2 computers so far that have been able to drive this SanDisk at its full 2000 capability, and I can't tell you which models. I should have made a note. I can't remember. I have to go back and watch my own videos to find them. But I'm sure our write speed will also be right around 1,000. So the drive itself is being held back by the computer. And as I've experienced, that's the case most of the time with this specific drive. Davis Parsons has now been a member for 14 months. He says, I made it to 14 months now. Hello, everyone in the chat. Hey, Davis, thank you. Thank you. Also another person that's obviously been there since we turned membership option on. Alan Linda says, I saved about $7.77 on his Beijing purchase that he used my link for, so I'm going to give you the $7.77. Here's my savings to you, Carrie. Well, thank you, Alan. That's very thoughtful and kind of you. Doesn't sound like you saved any money. You broke even. I'll be interested in your thoughts about the Fangjing drive, your experience with it. Okay, so now here's what I'm going to do. I don't need to run any more tests like this. I need to use the right mouse though. Let me come over here, close this out. We'll eject drive. And we're going to power this down and we'll open it up and see what it looks like inside. So let's shut down. So I'm going to go full screen over here on. Let me see how long this takes to shut down. Oh, couldn't even finish the sentence. Okay, so with this powered down, I'm going to unplug power. In fact, let's just take all the plug. I love it when they fall on the floor. And let me just clear some room on the bench so we have some space to work. I'm so glad I bought this. I never use it for actual personal use. Strictly use it for testing here on the channel. Same with the 8 terabyte. That NVMe drive I purchased, that's 8 terabyte. I don't use that for personal use. It's just to test capacity limitations that manufacturers report and to verify if what they're reporting is accurate. And speaking of which, that's what I want to do right now. So we'll take the 2 screws out that are here on the bottom. And let's see. Got my screwdriver and I got my glasses so I can see. One screw removed. And there's the second one. And then it would have to slide towards, yeah, just like so. Open that up. Oh. Okay. So let me show you what's in here. Here, here. Okay, I'm going to walk this over to the camera so we can look at this together. What we've got right here is a 2.5-inch cable, or a cable for a 2.5-inch drive, whether that's mechanical or solid state. Somehow that's glued down. Interesting. And then I don't know what these little posts are for, but maybe that's how you mount the drive with those metal brackets, I guess. Here is our 4C NVMe drive. You'll see there's no room for any more NVMe. There's just the one, and the minis for them had 2. Our RAM module is a single chip, so they don't have this in dual channel, made by the same company, 4C. And I'm going to guess our Wi-Fi chip is likely underneath the M.2. They usually are. Let's take a look. We can dive down a little deeper. Let's remove the NVMe drive. No. Wah, wah. So this is almost like the little cover they put on an engine when you open the hood of a car. They have this cover covering up the motherboard with just access to the NVMe slot, or M.2 slot, and our DIMM sockets, and then the area for adding the drive. So yeah, I guess those, whoever said, or whoever suggested those metal bands that were in the bag, that look like they're about that length. I don't understand why they have wheels on the end, but you know, that's all right. I'm all for somebody doing something different. So that means the Wi-Fi adapter is hidden somewhere. Is it soldered in or is it socketed? Well, there's only one way to know, and that's going to be to remove this plastic cover, which kind of defeats the purpose for why they have it. But to do that, I see 3 screws across the top, and I see 3 screws across the bottom, and then I imagine this should just pop right off. But I've got to be careful with the... Before I pull this off, I'll show you. It's like got sticky tape on it. Come on. Wow, some real sticky tape. Because that would keep us from lifting that plastic up if it's taped down. Glad I thought of that now. All right, take a look-see. See what's going on in here. And this screwdriver is too wide to fit down into the holes. Do I have a smaller one? Maybe. Didn't the description say dual channel? Well, it's clearly dual channel capable. I don't know if they specified that they were sending it to you in dual channel mode. I think that was open to interpretation. Hence the necessity for reviews like this. And instead of running benchmarks on it all day, let's actually open it, look at it, and actually use it in real life. And then we can determine its value, not based on what some software says. Don't you agree? Okay, there's the 6th screw. And then this should just lift off, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Take that flash drive or the keyboard dongle out of there. Something's holding us in. There we go. Yeah, that wasn't bad. Okay. Well, this wasn't very useful. It does appear we've got about an extra 1.5 inches of space, maybe 2 inches. The case is taller than it really needed to be in order to accommodate spacing for the cabling for a 2.5-inch drive. So you can see how much bigger the case has to be to accommodate that. And there is our Wi-Fi card right there. Now, why that wasn't user accessible through the cover, I don't know why. And again, you can see the make and model of the Wi-Fi card. Now, what I can do next is take said Wi-Fi card out. So I don't want to pull the antennas off. Here we go. Check out that little screw that holds the Wi-Fi card in. Then we'll take the Wi-Fi card out. If I can find a place to grab it. Oh, and it's taped down onto the board. Okay. And then it looks like we've got a screw here. And another screw up here. And I don't see anything else holding this board in other than those 2 screws right up at the, so that's at the bottom of the case. I was thinking this is the top, but this is the bottom because the power button's up closer to me. Full. Okay. So essentially, This is everything right here. So that's your CPU heatsink fan. There's our CMOS battery. The other side, the user serviceable side there. And then of course our I/O on the front and our I/O on the back. Okay. And of course, if we weren't going to use a 2.5-inch drive and we wanted to get this thing out of here, it just unclips. I don't see any harm in letting it stay. So to put this all back, let's see. I don't know where this was. It's got double-sided sticky tape on it. Where did it go? Probably somewhere like... Who knows the condition of the battery? It's a CR2032 battery. They're usually good for 5 or 6 years. I mean, I've seen them good up to 10 years, quite honestly. And it's not a big deal. It's just keeping the date and time for us. Keep wanting to put it in this way. I think they just stuck this to the case. See if that's going to work. Goes in real easy. I mean, I've struggled with some of these to get them in and out. Of course, I don't have it all the way in either. I think I don't want the battery there. That CPU heatsink is hitting the battery there. And I'm pretty sure battery was taped to the inside of the case and not to the motherboard. Let's try it to the other side and see if that fits any better. Oh, much better. Much, much better. Okay. So that means this screw can go back over here. This one over here. Okay. Do you have any questions about this computer? Putting the Wi-Fi card back in right now. And that tape holds that wire down, and this piece of tape over here is to hold this other wire down, and I can't grab it. There we go. Just keeps those wires from getting pinched on anything. It's good. Can't use that driver. These holes are too narrow. Paul Howe says the bars, those little metal springy things I was puzzled about, said they're like leaf springs that fit over the pegs and are screwed to the 2.5-inch drive. Oh, well, that's a very unique installation method. I've never seen a method like that before. And I might never even use one because I've stopped using 2.5-inch drives a long time ago. But to each their own, if that's something you want to do, if you purchase one of these, do know that is an option. And that's what those little springy things are for, those long metal bars that I took out earlier and said, does anybody know what this is for? You don't want to over-tighten these screws. They're very easily over-tightened and can crack the plastic or strip out the mount that they're screwing into. These are like self-tapping screws. Why they did that instead of using machine screws, but let's clone the drive to a Gen 4 drive and see if this is a Gen 4 motherboard with a Gen 3 drive, or is it a Gen 3 motherboard with a Gen 3 drive? I know one way to find out. Just tape this back down where it was. And I'll leave the cover off because we're going to be needing to get in there. And yeah, we'll just run a clone on this. So let me find a Gen 4 drive I can steal. What is going to be my volunteer? Who's going to be my volunteer? Looking for Gen 4. That is not Gen 4. Hey, you know what? Go big or go home, right? Amazon had a sale on these Western Digital black NVMe drives that have a heatsink built onto it. Where do you get a load of this? Now, these are just 1 terabyte. And I thought these might be good for mini PCs where the drive could run hot because it's got a built-in heatsink. Most desktops already have, the motherboards will have heat sinks designed to match with the rest of the board. And if given a choice between using the motherboard's heatsink or the manufacturer of the NVMe, I would choose the motherboard heatsink because they're usually, if not as good as, even better than the ones that the manufacturers include on theirs. And more importantly, it matches the aesthetic of the board, where this could break up the aesthetic. But I think on these mini PCs, having a heatsink on a high-performance NVMe drive is a good idea if you have enough room inside of the mini PC. And I think we're going to be okay. It could be wrong, but that's okay. For our testing anyway, this will at least answer the Gen 3, Gen 4 question. So let me just set that aside and plug the keyboard and mouse back in. Power. I don't need to plug the internet into it. We're just going to boot up an Acronis rescue disk. There. Acronis rescue. What's great on these 1 terabyte SanDisk flash drives we were talking about earlier is I partition this. So I got a little tiny partition for the Acronis rescue disk. And then the rest of the storage space is a second partition to hold the drive images that I'm backing up. So I have many drive images on this one flash drive. It's pretty useful. Keeps everything in one place. All right, now I got to figure out how to boot to the flash drive with this unit. This might take me a minute. So let's go back over to camera 1 here. Cell phone corner. And turn on HDMI input. This button here. Then I'm going to just, what, delete maybe? The delete key get us in. Something's going to get us in the BIOS. Did I break it? Quiet. Oh, I hear it now. I plugged the network, but I didn't plug the HDMI cable in. I did the exact opposite thing I said I was going to do. Silly me, I don't need the network plugged in. I need the HDMI cable plugged in, or we're not going to get a picture. Not exactly rocket science. What it's doing. So I'm going to unplug it. Wait a few seconds. Plug it back in. Hit the power button again. And then it should sense there's an HDMI cable plugged into it and activate that port. Some systems do that only on boot up. Okay, I got lucky and we got in here. So let's take a look at what our boot options are. Full screen, me, escape, I don't want that. Oh, we got a bunch of stuff in here, but it doesn't look like there's much we're going to be able to change. Wonder what this does. I don't want to overclock it. It's already running hot enough. BMD is usually used in RAID configurations, isn't it? But we don't have enough here to do a RAID. That's weird that that's an option in the menu. Okay, here's what I want. Boot option. How about boot override? Boot override, here we go. UEFI, SanDisk, that's what I want. So that now should boot into our Acronis rescue disk flash drive that I've plugged in. And I'm going to need a little enclosure, USB enclosure for the Western Digital drive to clone to. Where did I put my enclosure? Did I leave it over here? I swear I have lost or misplaced this particular enclosure more than any other. All right, we'll just use this one. This one will work. I'm sure after the broadcast, it'll be right in front of me this whole time. All right, so got a Cronus loading there. Say it froze up. Mouse is moving. I don't think it's frozen. I just need it to time out. Just give it a minute. Samuel Kowalski joins us and says hello. Welcome in, Samuel. So the fan just quieted down on the unit. Lone Dog said, Carrie, it's 118.9 in the shade. Care to join me in my desert empire? Yeah, well, I can join you from a distance. It's not quite that hot here, but we're supposed to be getting close to that this next week. Craig Casabona with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Craig. Not letting me select these other windows. And I'm not quite sure how much time I need to give it to get past whatever it's doing here. So I guess we'll try this one more time just to see if we have better luck. So hold the power button in until it shuts off. Press and release the power button and start hitting delete and F2 alternately. Right now, the system's just sitting here doing nothing. Taking a very long time to get a post screen. That's concerning. I'm going to unplug power. And let's turn on camera 1 so you guys can see me again. And I just want to make sure I haven't unseated like the RAM or something's not quite seated all the way in. There's really not much to break on this, so let's give it another try. And might have to take the motherboard back out and see if I'm pinching a cable or something. It's very strange because normally with a computer, oh, here we go. It either works or it doesn't work. You know what I mean? You don't usually get this sort of, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But those intermittent problems are always the most frustrating ones to solve. But this hasn't had a problem until I put it back together. So it's probably on me if I created a problem. Let's go back over to one more time, try and boot off of this flash drive and see if we have any better luck. And let's see here. That's doing that. I'll check my phone. Normally, I've seen a Coronas do this before, where you have to time out. It's like looking for something. I don't think it's freezing. Nick Caffrey sent $10.68. He says, I love the wide-ranging content on your channel and the conversational style. Thank you. Alan Linda says, after finding out the build you did for me is using a Gigabyte B560 HD3 with an i5 11600K, and it does support Gen 4, I will clone the current boot disk to this one, that's Gen 3. I suspect I will not notice any significant speed difference, but going to the Gen 4 at this price is not a bad thing, and I'll give you feedback after swapping it and using it. Yeah, sounds like a plan, Alan. Be interested to hear what your thoughts are. John, I see your email. We're not sending computers out to, and I can't emphasize this enough, guys. I cannot send computers out to your friends or your family or people you know. This is for our community only. I send it to you. That's how it goes in the record, so I know who I've sent things to and who I have it. I can't have any record of somebody that's not a member of the community and associate it to you. Your friend is welcome to come in here and nominate themselves for a giveaway. And of course, you're welcome to nominate yourself for the giveaway. And then when you receive it, you can then do whatever you want. If you want to ship it to somebody, that's on you. But I've asked, and I will continue to ask, that we not take computers away from members of the community who are eligible and give them to non-members of the community. I just don't think it's fair. We have a lot of members of the community here who have never received anything. And again, what you do with it when you have it is your business, but please don't volunteer me to help out your friends. And I mean, I've got enough work, and I do appreciate you, but that's on you. If I ship it to you, it's on you to get it to your friend, or your friend can come in to the channel and become a part of the community and be selected like anybody else. Trevor says it looks like Acronis is looking for a network. You know what? It could be. It could be. I could plug the network in just to see what it does. It may be trying to, I don't know, get an IP address or something, and now we're waiting for it to time out. I don't think so, though. I'm pretty sure I've booted to a Acronis rescue disk multiple times before without an issue. So there's other ways to do this. I have an Acronis rescue disk that's a Linux base, so we can do that. Just take this one out and we'll plug in the Linux boot option of Acronis. Let's turn this on, and again I have to go say it's delete to get in the BIOS. I'll just hit delete. Yes, it is delete. Save and exit and go over to there. Let's boot this one and see if we have better luck. Lawton Dog says it's 119 degrees outside, but in my house it's 73 thanks to a 410 AC unit. 0.5 over the needs. Oh, that didn't even boot at all. Try one more time. I can't read that. What does that say? Oh, okay, it's loading. It's bad enough it puts text on the screen, but for some reason it was all shaded out. So it was small and faded. All right, now that that's run, let's grab closure and we'll plug that in right here. Then we'll go to Tools. We'll go to Clone. Next, Source is disk 3. That's our NVMe interface. Destination is the 1 terabyte drive connected to USB. That's our non-formatted, not initialized, brand new Western Digital Black with the heatsink. We're using it to replace a disk on this machine. And proceed. All right, we're off to the races. Should take about 8 minutes. That sounds about right. So while we're waiting, if you have questions for me, I'll do my best to provide answers. And always be sure and check the chat room for answers as well, because there's a lot of people, very, very smart people in our community that may have an equal but different answer that is, in many cases, better than the answer I suggest. So it's up to you to decide, but do give them consideration, or you're only doing yourself a disservice if you don't. Michael Dane said it's 96 degrees here in Hocking Hills, Ohio. Humidity is 85%. It is sticky and hot. Whoops. Chat room's pretty quiet. Did I put everybody to sleep? I guess I'll get a colder Gatorade. These are getting warm really quick now. I'm going to step away here for just a minute. Be right back. All right, sorry about that. Doesn't look like I missed much. Well, it may have been a bit optimistic on that time remaining, but as a new install, it shouldn't take very long. We're not copying that much data. Oystein says, so this is how the Linux version of the Acronis Rescue disk looks. Yep, yeah, it's always looked the same. You can't tell one version from the other. They always look like this. And there's some machines where, you know, they won't boot, as we've just experienced with the Windows PE, or, you know, I see people, sometimes they have these Dell computers and they have trouble cloning their system because they don't realize Dell ships especially the business class machines, with the drive controller in RAID mode, even though it's only one drive and it's not using RAID. That's Dell's preferred method. And because it does that, Acronis cannot see the RAID controller. You've got to go into the BIOS and change it to AHCI, and then Acronis will see it, but then the system won't boot anymore, and cloning the image won't work. So this has created a lot of confusion for people. So there's a way to create your own custom Acronis boot disk that loads that driver. You'd have to download it from Dell. And when you're creating your Acronis rescue disk with your Acronis software, you have the option to add controller drivers. And so you could just add that driver into your boot disk, and then it'll see that RAID controller, and then cloning it's super easy. Samuel Kowalski says, Carrie, thanks for letting us know about all those deals in your Prime Day live stream the other day. I ended up buying an Amazon Fire Stick 4K Max for 50% off. Yeah, the 4K Max was like 25 bucks. What a steal. David Dix at Rock City PC said, yeah, Dell is notorious for setting the controller in RAID mode. They did that when Optane was big too. He said, I've got like 10 or 20 16 gig Optane M.2 drives that I use for super fast Windows installers. That's cool. Doman 2000 said you can also clone or image directly from Windows itself. Hot imaging VSS, if the image tool supports it, it works pretty convenient. Lawn Dog said, Carrie, that was a fantastic tip you passed on about Dell business computers. Boy, Lawn Dog just wants to keep putting that T in my last name. Carrie Holtzman. He says, the first time I ran into that issue, it was puzzling until I figured it out. Yeah, it's, you know, when I look at these little mini PCs from Dell and Lenovo and HP, I've got to tell you, the Dells, they stink. No USB-C, still running Generation 3 NVMe on a 13500 processor. Inexcusable. The HP minis, on the other hand, and you know, some of them have two M.2 slots, both Gen 4. And in many cases, they cost less. I don't know why Dell is making these decisions, or who's making those decisions, but to get a brand new, or, you know, fairly recent Dell Mini that has no USB Type-C, it's got a spot for a second M.2, but they haven't soldered a connector onto it. Guess you got to pay extra for that. And the one you do get only runs at Gen 3 speeds, and Dell wants to tell you that, you know, this NVMe drive is a Type 35. What's a Type 35? Well, that's some nomenclature Dell made up, and nobody in the industry uses it. I can't believe how long this is taking. Very slow. But faster for me to just reinstall Windows. Yeoman 2000 says, maybe pure business corp targeted. All the minis from HP, Lenovo, and Dell are targeted to businesses. They are not targeted for home users. So the idea of giving you a 13th generation Intel chip without Type-C USB and without Gen 4 NVMe is something only Dell is doing. Neither Lenovo nor HP will do that. If you buy a similarly equipped model from them, you will get a Type-C and you will get Gen 4 NVMe. It's only Dell that's decided that we're going to stick with Gen 3. Do yourself a favor, go online and try and figure out if the Dell Mini PC supports Gen 3 or Gen 4. Let me know if you find any piece of paperwork from Dell that identifies. It'll say it's M.2, it'll say it's NVMe, it'll say it's Type 35 or Type 40, which again, that's something they made up. But the actual information you want to know, is this Gen 3 or Gen 4? They don't tell you. Nowhere. I looked and looked, and I cannot find, outside of discussion groups, where people are talking about it. I can't find anything officially from Dell in the product specifications or documentation of what generation NVMe is on any of their mini computers. If you need to hear something I've said, you don't need to ask me to repeat myself. You have a scroll bar underneath your video, and you just rewind this live video on demand, and you can replay it as many times as you need to hear it. Oystein says it's always 8 minutes. It really shouldn't be taking that long unless, you know, this USB port is really slowed down for some reason. All right. It'll probably be one of those things where it like jumps 90% in a blink of an eye here. So I'm a little concerned. It shouldn't really be taking this long. The target drive is blinking, so it appears to be working. Mouse moves. We're not locked up. I wouldn't expect the target drive activity LED to be blinking if we were locked up, so it's doing it. And I can hear the fan on the CPU kind of cranking up a bit and slowing down, so it's doing some work. I wonder if plugging the keyboard and mouse dongle into that USB chain there is slowed it down. So I'll just take it out temporarily and see if that speeds things up. I should have a discount soon for you guys from Malwarebytes, but it's just going to be a commission link. They're not really working with us. But that's something. So, you know, we got to start somewhere. So hopefully I'll have some information on that soon. Now, normally, when I'm working and I'm doing something like this, I would have another system at another bench. I wouldn't just be staring at this, waiting for it to finish. We're kind of in a unique situation here doing a live video, and especially with hardware I'm not familiar with, things like this can happen. And in a normal day of work, even if this was happening and it was going to take an hour, I wouldn't care because I'd be doing something else. So I would just check on it from time to time. So we're in a very different and unique scenario when we're broadcasting live and we're kind of waiting on this to finish before we can move forward. And there's always that idea in my mind that maybe I should just shut it down and do a clean install. So I think maybe that's what I'm going to do, because this doesn't really look like we're making much progress. And this copy should have been over 10 minutes ago. Like, I don't know how long it's been running, but it's way too long. So I think I'm going to go ahead and shut it. Oh, wait a minute. Now the mouse is, oh, now wait a minute. The mouse is not moving because I unplugged the dongle. And our time just moved to 6 minutes. Now the mouse should move, right? Okay. I just freaked myself out. Gosh, we're so close. You know, we finally made progress, but just to go from the 8 minute to the 7 minute to the 6 minute, it's like taking 10 minutes to do each minute. I understand their estimates can be a little off, but that's not even close. Oh, it might be running at USB 2 speeds. You could be very correct at that. It may not have loaded the USB 3 drivers. That's possible. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do, let's just cancel this. It's taken too long. And close this, and I'm going to pull the power plug here. take that out. And I'll take this one out. And we'll go full screen back on camera 1. At least I'd be doing something rather than just staring at the screen, you know? So this gives me something to do. Go ahead and take out their NVMe drive. Set that aside. And we'll just pop this bad boy in here. Oh, it won't even fit in there. Kind of glad I took that out. This plastic housing has these little walls that go on each side of the NVMe drive here. And the heatsink seems to be interfering. It's like just a little too wide for some reason. I guess because of where it connects to the drive, it's a little wider than the drive, and they don't give you any extra space here. So if I pull the plastic piece off, I could access it, but I think what I'd rather do, see, I'm glad we didn't wait, is I'll just grab a different drive. I'll grab one without a heatsink on it. Good to know. This is how we learn. What can I grab? What can I use? Grab a Fangjing S880, you say? Okay, I think I will. Yongtae Jean says hello from South Korea. Hey, welcome in. We don't get many viewers from South Korea in here. All right, so this is our 2 terabyte Gen 4 Fangjing drive. And my Windows 11 USB is right here, in there. Turn this on and switch over to my HDMI input. Guess I have to give it power, don't I? Power. Now turn it on. That would probably be helpful. There we go. And it's perfectly silent right now. I don't even hear the fan running at all. And now it should be loading the Windows 11 from the USB. I need to go full screen so I can see it though. Okay. Yep. Install. Oh, I don't want it plugged into the network. Don't have product key. Windows 11 Pro. Next. Accept the license agreement. Next. Custom. Next. And we're off to the races. All right, so that's running very quickly. That's what we want to see. Much, much better. And then I guess I set my Gatorade somewhere, set it down, and I don't know where I put it. Time for a new one anyway, right? All right. I agree. I think I need to put these things in the freezer. Refreshing. All right, I'm going to step off camera for just a second. Bear with me here. I see an Amazon gift card from Oystein for $50. Thank you, Oystein. And one from Tom Jackson with $77.77. Holy cow. Thank you, Tom. And thank you, Oystein. You guys rock. Okay. Balbar said it's 113 degrees where you are. Oh, it's going to get hotter than that. We're going to hit 117, 118 here in the next couple days. It's hot. Like I said, it was 102 last night at 1 o'clock in the morning. My phone says it's 111. As you can imagine, sort of these stumbling blocks that I run into, like the rescue disk doesn't load, or you find out that the heatsink gets in the way. This is what happens when I'm refurbishing the older units and why it takes so long to set them up. Something that you think, oh, you're just going to put Windows on it, it should take 30 minutes. No, it usually takes, on average, with all the unexpected things that occur. I can't find a driver, there's a new BIOS, but now the BIOS doesn't apply correctly. Or, the controller's in RAID mode, I want to put it to HCI. So that's a real tricky thing. It's almost easier to just reinstall the operating system under AHCI mode. And it's just, I think you get a little better performance out of the RAID mode on those Dells, but I don't think it's worth it. Because that means anytime you have to work on your operating system, you need to be able to load the driver. All right, Shift F10. Just making sure my audio is going out. Yeah, okay, good. And of course, we should all know this by heart. OOBE, out of box experience. You got to click on the box. There we go. OOBE. Oh, I guess I was right. OOBE / bypass NRO. And we'll go through that sequence one more time. I should modify my Windows 11 installer to have that registry tweak already in there, but I've been so busy. I don't have time. So I just do this. It ultimately takes me less time. Just do this than to mess around with setting up a custom installer and then having to test it. But one of these days. I mean, besides 23H2 will be out in a couple months anyway, so I'm just going to have to do it again and again. Nick Caffrey says 55 degrees Fahrenheit, Kerry, in Western Ireland. Yeah, that sounds way better. I'll take 55 any day. All right, let's do this one more time. We'll yes to that, yes to that. Skip that. I don't have internet. It's now an option. Continue with limited setup. Username of user. Enter, enter. I guess this stuff doesn't really matter. I don't intend on keeping this drive in here, but for the sake of being consistent, we'll just uncheck things that I normally do and keep doing it all the same regardless. Nick Boverman said you can set that up in Rufus to bypass that. I tried it and it was, it didn't work correctly for me. So no, I don't know if since, Microsoft has updated their image and Rufus has probably updated the software, but it did not work. I tried it like 3 or 4 times thinking I might have done something wrong. And yeah, I made a video explaining to people that they could do that. So it's funny when people tell me what I've already explained to them. People send me links to articles that I linked in my Twitter page days before. I'm like, you guys are just repeating what I've already said. So hopefully, we got a desktop here in a second. And I shouldn't need to install any drivers for this. I mean, if it's Gen 4, we should see it right out of the box. So let me pull our Windows 11 install media and put the utilities flash drive in there. Copy over Crystal Disk Mark without doing anything else, just to see where we're at. See testing, Crystal Disk Mark. That's what we want right there. Eject flash drive. Done with that. And Crystal Disk Mark. Now, if we get a number over, 4,000 megabytes per second on our sequential read, then we're definitely a Gen 4 motherboard. And we have a Gen 3 NVMe that was shipped with it. On the other hand, if we're still only getting about 3,400, then we have a Gen 3 motherboard. And there's our answer. We have a Gen 3 motherboard. So that's good to know that they didn't cripple the machine by putting in a cheaper NVMe drive, putting in a Gen 3 in a Gen 4 machine. So it's obviously a Gen 3 M.2. All right, we can stop that test. And, if we wanted to put drivers on this, like if I right click and the start button here and go to the device manager, we'll see items that, all these items, for example, that need drivers. And one sort of secret way around that is, I have the original drive right here. And if I put the original drive in this enclosure, with a little rubber tab on this one, is a little bit tough to move. There it goes. Yeah, so if I take our original drive, and this is just a tip for you guys who do your own stuff. Let's see, did that load? Long delay there. Let me click OK on that. We'll plug this in one more time. Not sure what that was all about. That's bizarre. Either it's taking a really long time to handshake with the USB drive, with the enclosure, or maybe it needs a driver, but it just work regardless. Okay, now it's blinking. That's better. So now that we've got that loaded up, what we can do is we can just point at any of these devices and click driver. Well, actually, you don't even have to do that. We could just click update driver, browse my computer, and then just select the D drive. And specifically, we can choose the Windows folder. Click OK, click next, and it should find the drivers inside of the Windows subdirectory. Quite often they're in System32. And if we're more specific with the folder, it won't take so long because it's searching through all of the subfolders. So just to give you an example, you see how long that's taking. If I click update driver, click browse, once again, we'll go back to Windows, but this time I'll pick System32. And then you'll see there is a folder called drivers right there. Click OK. I think that'll search faster. Now I got the wrong folder. One more time. Browse. Let's just do the entire System32. There we go. We found it. And it'll remember that location. So the next time we want to update, like this is an unknown device, we go to driver, update driver, browse my computer. So it saves that location. So all you have to do is hit next. We can just go through it like that and go through each one. Just as an alternative way, just pull the drivers right out of your old Windows install. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. See that? It'll find them all, I promise you. Oh, let's see. Is Amazon dropping something off? It looks like they are. Another good reason to make a full image backup, because that way you will have your drivers whether you realize it or not. What draws me to computer repair is there's multiple ways to accomplish the same task, and it's debatable over which way is better, right? It's whatever way you prefer. Some ways might be faster, but on the other hand, some people are faster, right? So there's the process speed, and then there's the processor, the person speed, both of which play a role in how long something takes to get done, and of course, how they choose to do it. So, at the end of the day, in the IT that I've worked in, all that mattered was that you got your job done. It didn't necessarily matter how you did it, as long as it was done within an acceptable time frame. Do we have any new hot sauces to convey? Yeah, you're not going to really hear me talking about that in the summertime. It's the last thing I want to do. Let's see. So many devices that need drivers on this little guy, huh? Kind of surprising. Now, many of these may come through automatically with Windows Update. Remember, we haven't plugged this into the network since we've installed Windows on it. So this is probably doing it the hard way, but it's just there for an opportunity to show you something that I don't think I've shown you before. So why not? So my question is the Minisforum TH version of this Gen 4? I thought I said it was Gen 4. Am I reading that wrong? That one. How many do I have left now? Getting there. Almost done. That should be the last one, right? Everything else should be happy. So that's all of our drivers. That's everything. Wi-Fi, network, Bluetooth, controllers, everything. So in order to make sure that those drivers are going to take effect, we need to reboot. So I'll disconnect safely this NVMe enclosure. And I'm going to reboot the computer. And while it's rebooting, I'm going to go check my front door because it looks like Amazon dropped off a package and I don't want it to sit out in that 110 plus degree weather, whatever it is. All right, that wasn't too bad. There were a couple of boxes out there. Wonder what this is. I ordered a bunch of stuff on Amazon Prime Day, and so I'm expecting a lot. Let's see. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, okay, I know what this is. That is for a different computer project that I'm working on. There are these other boxes. Just can't identify what they are from the outside. Okay, sorry about that. I just figured I'd take advantage of the reboot time, which I'm sure is probably all done by now, right? Okay. I just wanted to open those boxes up and let the heat escape them. They're little ovens, little cardboard ovens. All right. Now, just to be thorough, crystal disk mark. Just want to make sure that, I mean, Gen 4 shouldn't require any of those drivers. So we just want to verify we're still going to be under 3600 or below. on our read speed here. And that just absolutely makes me certain we're Gen 3. I mean, I'm pretty certain right now, but yeah. Yeah, I didn't think the drivers were going to make any difference, and they didn't. And then again, if we look at the device manager, everything in there now since we've done that should be happy, and it is. So that's just a little tip there from your Uncle Kerry, turning some lemons of a situation here into some lemonade of information. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for me for today. Let's see if I can go full screen on camera 1. There we go. So a shout out and thank you to everybody who has contributed today. We'll start with the super chats. We'll start with the most recent first. Craig Casabona, Alan Lindas. Thank you to Charles Eslek and Davis Parsons for renewing their memberships. Tom Jackson, thank you for your super chat. And Mark Gaines, Ian Gooch, LRCX, Elijah 52 Dickens, Peter Laycock, our friend Buster, and Elijah Dickens renewed membership as well. Thank you for that. Douglas Burchell, Frankie B, thank you, Frankie. Paul M, Dwayne Blackwelder renewed his membership. Thank you to Rick Lakes for his super chat contribution, as well as Paul O'Brien and Nick Poverman. Paul O'Brien again. And Sarge Tech, who kicked us off with the very first contribution before the stream started. You guys rock. And one more time, I got to look at my phone and shout out a thank you to the people who've contributed these other ways. And that will be Nick Caffrey, Tom Jackson, our good friend Oystein, Elijah Dickens, our friend Buster, who contributed through PayPal, very kind, Barry Klein, Sarge Tech, and Mortant. Right on. Bill Kaufman sends me an email. It says, "Hi, Kerry. I believe you are providing a valuable service to our veterans by offering a computer to those who are struggling. I am 74 years old and a veteran of 26 years myself. I've been following your videos since 2016, and I've learned a lot from them. I'm a subscriber to your channel, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm not interested in any giveaways, and if one does come up, I'd rather it goes to someone in need. Please keep up the great service you're providing." And that's from Bill in Sierra Vista, Arizona. So again, it's not just computers we're giving away. So if you see, like we're giving away some of these NVMe USB enclosures, don't be shy to nominate yourself when stuff like that comes around. And yeah, you don't need a PC, that's great. We'll make sure we get that off to somebody who does. So I just want you to be aware that there's more than just PCs that we give away here. And for the most of it, I really don't care where it goes, right? It's just the PCs because they're so expensive. I want to make sure that we're getting them to people in need first. I want to prioritize that. And then people who want a toy to tinker with, you know, once everybody's like, no, I don't need a PC, but I'd like to have one just to tinker with, then we can start distributing that way. The number of requests I get from viewers who want me to send a computer to somebody they know is bizarre. I emphasize the importance of the community. And I think if you had any idea how many times I get asked from my viewers to send a computer to somebody they know that has nothing to do with this channel, it's a little frustrating for me because of the frequency with which that happens. Well, we're still trying to get computers out to members of the community here. So as long as there's members of our community here that are in need, we want to prioritize them first as far as the PC giveaways go. When we're giving away anything else, usually it doesn't really matter, you know, USB enclosure, whatever. Nobody really needs any of that stuff. It's just something nice to have. So, yeah, and if as members and subscribers, moderators, feel free to leave your questions in the chat room and have other members, you know, look to other members to respond to you. If you're somebody that wants to conduct any business with me, of course, reach out to my email. If there's something that you need repaired or upgraded or you want to buy from me, those emails always get priority for obvious reasons. And then, of course, to all my friends who are members of the channel, you're always welcome to reach out to me at any time for any reason. If there's anything I can do for you, I'll see what I can do to meet your request, because the members who are contributing $9.99 a month to join our membership are what's making it possible for half of every month's videos would not be doable without that additional budget. So I'm making twice the content with the help of a very small fraction of our community. And so to show my appreciation to them, they are always welcome to reach out to me. It's never annoying to hear from a supporter. And it's not really that it's annoying. It's when people reach out who have, they're looking for personal tutoring or they're looking for personal one-on-one tech help, but they haven't established a relationship with me or the community, it puts me out a little bit, puts me off. It's not like they're asking me to hire me. They want me to work for them for free without even establishing who they are. It's weird. So I want to make sure that when the people who are asking for things are people who I feel are owed, best way to put it. So I think that's just the best way to handle it. And like I said, if you receive a computer from the channel, from the community, and you want to give that to your friend, or you do whatever you want, it's yours, right? But that's your giveaway. But it's all kept in a database, so I know who's received, and there's a lot of viewers. So if I'm sending it to somebody else, there's no way for me to track it. I don't have a system in place for that. Anyway, let's see. Nick Caffrey says, I think you are a decent human, Carrie. Keep it up. Well, thanks, Nick. I'm trying to be. Trying. Peter says, thank you, Carrie. I really appreciate it. Thanks to all of you in blue. Looks like we haven't really had any spam or bot problems lately in our live videos for a while. So I think you guys have done a very good job. They don't even try anymore. Bill Sony T wants to know, how do I like my S23? I like it the same. Still really like it. I would get an S24 only because, like, I liked my S22. I didn't need to get the S23. So likely when the S24 comes out, unless there's some terrible reviews, I'll probably get it. But not for any reason other than it's new, like, just to see what the difference is. Oystein says, always learning new things from your videos, Carrie. Thanks a lot. Well, thank you. Thanks for making it possible for me to make these videos. All right, that'll wrap it up for me for today. We've gone a little long today, but it's Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you have a safe and wonderful weekend. I've got a lot of content to catch up on, and I just don't know yet if I will have time over the weekend. I certainly have the work to do. I just don't know if I have the time to do this on video with all the other projects going on, but just keep an eye on your notifications. If I am going to go live, I'll always post it out there, usually within an hour's notice. And then on Mondays, we always do members only videos, Mondays at 1:00 p.m. Pacific time. So if you are a member of the channel, I hope you will join us for a private video that is just for us, myself and the supporters, for us to hang out. And it's not so chaotic, and it's not public, it's private. So it's a little more intimate that way. We get to know each other a little bit better. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all again very, very soon. And until next time, bye for now. I'm looking for an outro to play. Here. Here we go. All right, guys, for real this time. Bye for now.